Good evening. This is Jerry Lee. I'm Miss Rascal from Three Sisters Broom Shop located here in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. So tonight, what I would like to share with you is a little bit about my unique foot brake. This design is a design that I came up with and Travis improved on for several reasons. So I want to explain a little bit about them and show you how to use the holes that I felt were very necessary in the broom industry. And I still think that. So all of the foot brakes that I have 2 holes in them. So tonight I'm going to show you how to use those if you don't know. This is the girl that watches over all the broom corn, and she also helps me dye, D-Y-E, all summer. We've been doing this for a few years now, and she's always there, blessing the broom corn along with the fairies. But let's talk about this foot brake. When I started making brooms, I was told to go find something round. That was the end. Go find something round to wrap your twine on. Okay, that left a lot of room. But I determined and figured out and deduced that it had to be long, something long, and just a round, like not a ball. Okay, so yeah, my mind went places with that. Just go find something round. Okay, so I did. I found a tree branch, and it was fairly straight. I took the bark off of it and went from there. And I had that particular tree branch foot brake for a while. But then I graduated to a dowel that was 12 inches long and 1 inch around. And I cut those up and I used those. I made those myself. And the reason that I got away from the dowels is because they have to sit on the ground. When you have dowels on the ground, or any of your twine actually hitting the ground, a few things happen with that. I'm sorry, Rascal, but you're in here too. That's just life. Yes, I love you. So anyway, what I found out with the dowels was that when it touches the ground, of course, it's going to get dirty. So I carried unless you live in a carpeted home, and I don't, my home has hardwood floors. So I feel like I'm crooked, but we'll see. Anyway, so what I did is I would carry around a rug. I just carried a rug everywhere. Inconvenient, but it kept the twine clean. I was in the commercial embroidery industry for nearly 30 years. I was a designer in thread, commonly known as a digitizer. And I know a lot about the commercial embroidery business and industry. And one thing I know for sure is that thread bruises, and so does twine. It bruises. And when you are, and it makes it weaker, okay? The twine that we use, I use this thickness. It's number 18. The brand is called La Espiga, L-A space E-S-P-I-G-A. I buy all of my twine from one particular company called Estambres, ESTAMBRES.com is their website. A lot of it's in Spanish, meaning all the colors are in Spanish. But if I didn't know the words, I just Googled them and figured out what the colors were. The family that owns it is very, very nice. I've dealt with them for years now, and never once have I had one problem with a twine order, which is why I use them. You will find the La Espiga number 18 twine under the macrame tab on their site. See ya. So, basically, what I learned during my time of making brooms is that it didn't really matter what the foot brake was. In the end, I always had the twine come flying off. Okay, at the very end, like when I've got pressure on it, and sometimes it would just give, and boy, was that a surprise. You want to keep pressure and tension on your twine, not pressure, but tension on your twine throughout the entire broom until you decide, take your snippers and release it from the foot brake. I know that I, as a broom maker, and I'm sure that many others do this as well, I will wind right down to the top of that foot brake if I have to, to get the necessary twine. Okay, so I came up with this 2-hole system as a result, to prevent that. So I showed Travis, my friend Travis of Green, let's see, this one isn't stamped. Green Woodworks is who he is, Travis. And he does all the creating of all my tools. He built my stitching table, my broom table, my tying table. He did that. But I showed him what I was using for dowels, and he improved it. I mean, yeah, he did see my dowels, and then he improved it. And I said, Travis, I need a recess in the middle. Okay, I need a recess. So I expressed to him the reason why, and that was because I wanted to travel with these. I wanted to go anywhere I wanted. If I wanted to go sit outside on the sidewalk and do it, I wanted to be able to do it, not have my twine touching the ground, and I didn't want to carry a carpet anymore. I've seen a lot of foot brakes out there. You see often the square-ended ones, and they remind me, although they are not, but they do remind me of the banister things that you would find on a staircase, is the closest way I can describe them. But basically, they're recessed in the middle and square. But that's not where I got the idea, actually, because I hadn't seen those foot brakes before when I came up with this idea. So I told him I wanted it recessed so I could take it wherever I wanted, and my foot brakes are purposefully round. And I'll explain to you the difference between the square ends and this one in a moment. But what I want to show you right now is what you do with these holes. So Travis put in this drill bit. He's been working on a winding system for some time, which is sitting on a shelf right now. It's sitting on a back shelf somewhere. But you can use your drill bit to wind. And really what I do is I just do it with my hand. So sometimes people, you know, like I don't send out instructions on how to do this. So I'm going to show you how I take my twine. I'm only going to use a single piece right now. But I go ahead and I don't care what hole it is. I just stick it in one. And I've doubled it because on the end it's frayed. And that's not happy. So what I'm going to do is take my fray, make it hit the road. Okay, so what I do with my foot brakes, and for some reason, just out of habit, I always have the drill bit to my left when I work, always. And also it makes it so I can wind it here, because I don't, like I said, use a drill. So I'm going to go ahead and insert the twine in one hole. Okay, now I used to just loop it over and put it down through this one, but I don't do that anymore. I found a much better way, and it works every time. And it's a little hard to explain in words, which is why I'm showing a visual. So what I do is I take this now, I'm going to pull it over towards me, and I'm going to shove it through this hole, the second one. Put it in through here. So I go up through the top, and then I bring it back down and go under for the other hole. And I pull it up, okay? Now that still is pretty good, but it's not quite enough. So then what I do is I just take this loose end, I don't get a real long one, and I go ahead and I tuck it under this middle twine here. I just lift it up, pull it down, and cinch. Okay, and that's it. And then when I wind, of course I'm backwards now, but when I wind, I I'm going to have to do it the way I do it. I do it so that when I pull over the top on mine. So when I do it, I just take it. I've got it locked in there. See how it's like got it right there? We'll take that one off. So this is what it looks like before I start. And then I just start winding. Okay, what I do is I do keep my finger on here as I'm winding off the spool of twine. And the reason I do that is because I'm keeping tension on there. I don't want this to be loose. Some questions that I get in classes and other times is, does it have to be nice and neat? No, I'm a slob about it. I don't really care. My purpose isn't to make this tidy, it's to make it tight and to just keep going. Okay, winding this is just part of the preparation. It is not part of the joy of making a broom. I mean, it's how I get there. And so, no. Now, some people will wind this really neat, okay? I just don't. That part is not a big deal to me. So this is how I do it. Now, I've seen a lot of questions lately. I cover this in my videos, and in my number 2 video, Broom Making 201, which is a plated turkey wing. Plating means that it has a reed woven handle. The reason I do that in that particular class is, and I'm just going to trim the frays because now I have 2 twines. I'm going to show you how to do 2 twines, okay? So I have 2 different colors. I'm going to go ahead and trim the fray off. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing I just did a minute ago. I'm going to insert it into the bottom here. It's going to come out the top. It's so easy when you're making a video. It's like when everything kind of goes sideways, huh? But we're determined, so we're going to carry on. Okay, I'm going to put it up through here. So there it is through the first one. I'm going to pull that through a little bit, and I'm going to come underneath. If I were to show it from this side, I'd be coming underneath or around the back, okay? And you can do it this way and just stick it in the second hole from the bottom. And there I have it. Okay, so it looks like that. Now, if I were just to pull, you can see that it'd keep coming, and I don't want that. I, again, want to lock it down. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to lift this end up. Put it down below there. It'll be easier for you. I'm working in a limited space here to get it on video. Okay, so it's locked down. I mean, that thing is locked, and I can really pull. I can really put some pull behind my brooms, and what happens is that this thing won't give. It just will lock in where your twine is. It will not let go. So that's why I do it, is so that when I'm at the very end, and see, I'm pulling pretty hard. I mean, I really am pulling, and that's not letting go. Well, the beauty of that is when I'm down to the very end and I hardly have any room left, and I have to practically, well, I lean over and end up down with my face almost against the foot brake sometimes because I'm that short on twine. If I'm making something particularly long, or if I just spaced it out while I was creating, and I just kept going. And so then I don't know how much twine I have left on the foot brake. It's really important to remember how much twine you have on the foot brake. It's very important. So what I'm going to do now is turn, and I want to show you, a lot of people I've seen this question come up a bunch, and again, it's in my 201 video, but I want to show you, people are curious how you put 2 twines on here, how you keep them even, okay? Well, what I do, okay, they're just hanging there, right? I take my finger, my thumb and my forefinger, and I put it on the twine, and I hold it and I just turn. See? And by doing that, I do two things. I keep the colors the way that I want. I know that these colors look similar in color. One is green, one is turquoise, but I keep my two colors together, but I'm just pulling it through my fingers. I'm just pulling it through my fingers, and that keeps them together. It keeps them side by side. And again, I'm just holding it tight enough to apply some tension so that when I get this on here, it's not all loosey-goosey and going every which way. So I wanted to explain that tonight, to show you and to explain how this particular foot brake came to be, why there are holes in it. Since my foot brake has come out, I have noticed that there's holes showing up in other foot brakes, and I think it's a swell idea. So that's probably why it's showing up, is because I've never seen it before until I did that. We named this the Mathilda just because I like naming things. I had it Matilda, and when Travis invoiced me, it was for Mathilda with an H, so that's how it came to be named Mathilda with an H. They're just cute. So Travis now stamps all of these. This is one of the very first ones. I've been using this one for years, okay? He was experimenting a lot with these. We experiment with everything. We prototype everything. Travis makes it, and then I use it to make sure. So what I want to tell you too about these is that Travis uses really hard wood. These are not out of pine. This one is maple, and the other wood that is used in my shop by Travis in his shop is beech. It's not birch, but it's beech. They're both hard woods. And so he gets what's available and what's most cost effective, and but he won't use a cheap wood. Everything that Travis does is really got some great craftsmanship going on. He's particular. He's a very skilled woodworker, and he's very particular about the quality of the products that he turns out. He makes my needles, both the double-ended, which is also known as a bodkin, and the single-ended, and those are also made to my specs. The first broom stitching needle that I ever found was fat and wide and short. It was just so fat and wide. It was wide and short, so it was just kind of like a little block going through there, and I wanted something narrower and definitely longer. And then he made the double-ended needle for me that is the length of a full-size broom. It's that long. As a result, it has a hole in the middle. So I just picked up some of those today. The double-ended, the bodkin, double-ended needle, which I use on all my full-size brooms, and then more of the foot brakes, and he's got more coming this week. So I just wanted to let you know how to use the Mathilda with the holes, why the holes are there, and tell you what the history was behind the foot brakes that I sell. Oh, so now I want to explain to you, I did say that there's ones that are square, and I see those a lot, and they're great. I don't have any, okay, because I use these. But I've seen several broom makers with them, and let me explain the difference between this one and that one. Besides, one is round and one isn't. Okay, first of all, with this, I work barefoot. With the ones that have the square ends, you definitely want shoes. Definitely want shoes. Now, what those foot brakes are really awesome about and handy for is that you can pull like crazy and on your tension, on your twine, and you can really put your weight behind it on those particular foot brakes because they have square ends, and so they're not going to roll on the floor. Sometimes these get away from people. They don't for me, but it only takes once or twice, and then you realize that you need to keep pressure on it before it takes off. Yeah, but the square ones are nice because they do allow you to put a whole lot of, lot of pull behind that, and to really wrench on your tension and get a nice tight wrap. and that's the difference. We don't have those here. Travis doesn't make those, and we won't be making those. But he does make this one, and this is sold exclusively in my shop. So, thank you. I just wanted to explain, and we will talk soon. Have a great night.